Chapter 4, Mid-Chapter Quiz Review. So the first thing is we're going to write each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. Use the bar notation if the decimal is a repeating decimal. So we have to remember to change that fraction to a decimal or mixed number as a decimal. We're going to divide. Divide the numerator divided by the denominator. So when I look at number 1, 8/9. So to change that from a fraction to a decimal, I'm going to take 8 divided by 9 on my calculator. When I do that, I go to my calculator. I take 8 divided by 9. I get 0.88888888. So what number is repeating? Well, that would be this 8 right here. So to write that as a decimal would be 0.8 with a bar over the top, with a hat. That shows that it's repeating. Number 2, 12/19. Again, the same thing. I'll go back to my calculator. I'll take 12, my numerator, divided by 19, which is my denominator, and I get 0.6315789473. So this one here, it looks like it ends, or does it repeat? I would say, since it's continuing on, this is a repeating decimal. So 631. So we would have 12 divided by 19, and we would get 0.6315789473 with a 6 at the end. I got to make sure I put the 6 at the end because that's not repeating. And there you have it. It's that whole thing. It's not repeating. Number 3, bad example. Should have changed different numbers, but that's okay. Number 3 is 3 1/3. So to write this one, this is the same as 3 plus 1/3. So if we change 1/3 to a fraction, I go to my calculator, 1 divided by 3, I get 0.333333. So I know that the 3 is repeating. So 1/3 is 0.3 repeating. What I need to do now is I'm going to take my 3 and bring it down, and I'm going to get rid of this 0 right here and put the 3 in front of the decimal. So I get 3.3 with the bar notation. 4 and 5 ask us to replace each circle with either less than, greater than, or equal to make this a true sentence. So for 4, we have 14/20 and 32/40. Well, there's a couple ways that you could do this. The first one is, I know that 20 is a factor of 40. So what can I multiply by 20 to get 40? That would be 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 14 times 2 and see if I get 32. So 14 times 2 is actually 28. So 14/20 is the same as 28/40. And I know that 28 is less than 32. Number 5, 18 21st and 59 90ths. This one here, I know 21 does not go into 90 equally. So I'm going to do the second part of the way I would do that, and that is to cross multiply. I'm going to take 21 times 59. So I'll go to my calculator. 21 times 59 is 1,239. 1,239. So since I multiplied denominator times numerator, I write that number up here next to this fraction. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to multiply the bottom two, or these other two. I'm going to take 90 times 18. So I have 90 times 18, and that's 1,620. Now I can compare those two numbers. 1,620, 1,239. I know that 1,620 is larger than 1,239. So 18 over 21 is greater than 59 90ths. That's called the butterfly method, where you simply cross multiply to find the product and then compare those two numbers. Number 6 and 7, we have to add or subtract. We have to write our answers in simplest form. So we have 3/4 plus 3/4. Well, with common denominators, we can add or subtract straight across. So since the 4's are common, I'm going to leave 4 as my denominator and add the numerators. So 3 plus 3 is 6. So to write this as in simplest form, I would use my calculator that is on Clever. If you go to Clever, you go to the polar bear page, you're going to see that I have a calculator for simplifying fractions. So here's my page. I click on my page. Right here is this book. The book says simplifying fractions. If I click on it, here's my simplifying fractions. I type in my numerator, which is 6. I type in my denominator, which is 4. I simply hit calculate, and it gives me my answer of 1.5. And number 7 is 2/10 plus 4/5. So what I do is I write mine down below. So I have 2/10 plus 4/5. And I need to find a common denominator. What's a number that both 5 and 10 go into? Well, I can write out my factors, my multiples, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. And for 10, it would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Which ones are common? I have 10, and I have 20. So I want the smallest number that they are common with, which is going to be 10. So 10 is my common denominator. So I know 10 times 1 is 10. So I take 2 times 1, which is 2. The bottom one here, 5, I have to take 5 times 2 is 10. So I do the same thing to my numerator, is 2. So 4 times 2 is 8. Then I add those together. 2 plus 8 is 10. 10 is my denominator, it stays the same. And 10/10 is the same as 1 whole. As we look at subtracting, same thing. So number 8, I have a negative 4/7 minus 2/7. They have a common denominator, so I simply subtract. So negative 4 minus 2, remember when you have a negative and you're 4 steps away from the door and you take 2 more steps away from the door, now how far are you away? You are negative 6/7. because if it's two negatives, you want to add those two numbers together, and it's still a negative number. Number 9, we have 7/8 minus 11/16. So again, I rewrite that as 7/8 minus 11/16. And now I need to find that common denominator again. What number do both 8 and 16 go into? Well, there's 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. 16 would be 16, 32, 48, 64, and 70. So a common factor would be 16 and 32. So of those two, which one's the smallest? That's going to be 16. So now we made two equivalent fractions. 8 times what number is 16? Well, that's 2. 1, 2. So I multiply the top number by 2. So 7 times 2 is 14. 16 times 1 is 16, so I multiply the numerator by 1. 11 times 1 is 11. And now I subtract 14 minus 11, since I have a common denominator, is 3. 16 is my denominator. It does not change. Number 20 is the homework. It says Hansen spent 2.5 hours on homework yesterday, while Sequona spent 1 3/8 hours on homework. How much more time did Hanan spend on homework than Sequoia? So here is how much more tells me this is a subtraction problem. So I just wanted a blue pen, sorry. I'm going to take 2.5